Well, it up and get Sambuca. Take off that vest. You look like a Aladdin. Why don't you want to be the provider for your family and provide them with the very best house and the very best food and the very best clothing, the very best this, the very best that?
Until I met my wife, I was like, I would never cry. I would always hold it back. And now I'm like, I start getting teared up at commercials. Now you're talking. Now I got you rolling.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Burn Down. I'm Justin, a.k.a. The Dapper Cigar. This gentleman over here.
Hey, what's up, guys and gals? It's Eric, a.k.a. Brother Cigar, a.k.a. Slick Rick, a.k.a. DJ EJ,
a.k.a. your mother's favorite DJ.
Word up. He already knows.
I thought you were going to say it with me because that's usually what happens. So I was
going to say your sister's favorite DJ.
Oh, okay. Well,
your mother's good, too.
If you're new to this channel, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Website burndown.podcast.com. Become a member, $5 a month, exclusive discounts and giveaways. Check out our cigar, The Blueprint. You get 15% off if you're a member. And that's
Should I shut off that annoying sound? Is that getting picked up, or
you can shut it off if you want. Just be talking, man. We got a lot of shit to say, right? There's a lot up in the dome that needs to come out the mouth. Sometimes it bypasses the filter. A lot of times it bypasses the filter. Wow. But it is what it is.
Well, this is the first time I'm going to be using my wha-bam. Burn down torch. Look at this. Ooh, burn down podcast on the back. Burn down podcast on the grip. And you know what it is? It's so much nicer when it's your own. Because when I had this same exact torch, I think it was from AJ Caldwell, but I was like, it's all right. Now nice, it says burn down.
So for the people that don't know, we have our accessories. I'm sure by this time, when this episode comes out, you'll have your own, but
unless we sold out at the event.
But cutters, lighters, ashtrays, travel cases. We actually have the ashtray right here.
Look at that. Oh,
I know, it's nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And we're gonna be drinking a little bit of
just give me a little dab right there, yeah.
A little Cava de Oro extra añejo. My phone is blowing up right now. Is this important? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
What's going on?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
What's going on with you, man?
Boy.
Don't they know it's podcasting time?
I know, it's podcasting time.
It's podcasting time. Well, anyways, while Justin's doing his thing on his phone.
Yeah, bear with me one second.
I watched something on YouTube earlier today, and it was on the Vice channel, and it was like, be a man. And it was like a debate between like...
Be a man.
Modern I think it said modernists? Is that how you say it?
Modernists?
You know, like traditionalists and modernists.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't even know how you say it, but modernists versus traditional, like men. And they were talking about, like, what it is to be a man, versus now, versus then, blah, 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 toxic masculinity, whatever that is. But my question is, you know, in a crazy world where sometimes you kind of get, like, shunned for being a man.
Being a man.
You know, and cigars are for guys and gals, but it is a very male-dominated industry. You know, where are cigars going to be in like 10 years? You know, do they think it's going to be like the booming 90s, in the cigar 90s, or is it going to take a little bit of a slump because society and the way things are now, like it's kind of taking a little awkward turn, and we don't really know what it looks like. I think cigars are going to I don't think they're going to take it back, you know, back to society. I think cigars are just going to be even more than what they are 10 years from now. I think they're going to be more popular. I think they'll be enjoyed by many more. That's just my opinion on it.
No, yeah, I got sidetracked on my phone. It was my phone blew up with like 5-6 text messages all from the same guy, like a real quick. I was like, okay, let me just take care of that really quick. But yeah, it was. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Right?
I think they're actually going to blow up more. It is an older industry.
Yeah.
It is.
But it is getting younger.
No, it is getting younger, and I think that's what we have going for us, is a lot of people that have listened to us and watched us have said that we're kind of the up and coming, right? Because we're blending the podcast world and social media world with an older industry. So I do think that we'll see, you know, you're starting to see it a little bit more. There's a lot more events, like cigar events, people coming together. So I think that we are seeing it. And to go off of the be a man. You be a lady, and I'll be a man. Instead of co-workers, let's be
Come on, let's go back to the
co-people. But I think I do see more. You do see more women coming into the industry.
Yeah.
Okay? It still is a very male-dominated industry. I think that traditionally it is a masculine act, if you will, masculine art form. Cigars are masculine art form.
I think cigars. I think the act of smoking a cigar is more masculine. I look at it like this. You know, when you think of cheerleading, it's a very feminine girl thing. But there's male cheerleaders, or maybe even better example, nurses. Nurses are it seems like a very feminine position. Mostly are female, but there are male nurses. There are male cheerleaders. So it just has that, I guess, that stigma because it's been dominated by a certain gender, if you will. You know, where nurses are primarily women, cigar smokers are primarily men. That's just the kind of way it gets viewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think what I was trying to get at is that, like, just because you smoke it doesn't mean, like, all right, you're doing something that is typically done by a man, you're freaking manly.
Yeah.
Like, you can enjoy a cigar, even if it's a man, like, okay, a perfect example. Drinking wine, right? Typically, if you're out and about drinking bourbon, right? Drinking is more of a manly thing, and drinking wine or white wine is more of a feminine thing.
Yeah.
Traditionally how it is. But if I have a glass of wine, doesn't mean I'm a feminine man because I have one glass of wine.
Yeah.
Or because I enjoy wine.
White wine.
Or if I enjoy white wine. Or if I enjoy a Pinot Grigio.
Why is that? Why do you think?
I don't know.
Why is white wine more considered with
I don't know.
Females and then,
I don't know. But that's,
wine.
I think, what I was trying to say is just because you like to enjoy something that is typically considered more on the manly side doesn't mean that you're automatically like, oh my God, she's so manly, she smokes cigars. No.
Because I've seen plenty of good-looking women smoke cigars.
My wife.
Yeah. And I'm like, not your wife, but I'm like, damn.
Perfect
son.
example. Okay, so like my wife, when she smokes cigars, I'm not instantly like, oh my God, that's so manly. Like, why would you do that? You know, it's a manly thing, and more men smoke cigars than women smoke cigars, but that's not.
I feel like it gives cigars, or it gives it kind of like a cool look, or like a new look, or a new feeling. Like, when a guy like most people think cigars are very manly, right? Men smoke cigars. And then like when they see a female smoke cigar, it's like a whole new world to them. They're like, what? Like, really?
Yeah.
You smoke cigars? Like, wow. And it's like a whole like...
Yeah, so I think the whole point is that even though that it's traditionally a male-dominated industry, it's come up where anybody and everybody smoke. Like, it's not a male thing anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just like,
I feel like we're beating a dead horse here.
Yeah, we kind of maybe are. I mean, especially today's day and age, it's like almost like, the mantra is like, well, women can do anything a man can do. Where I think there's a fine line between that. Like I don't think a woman can play professional football. Like I don't think.
I don't. We're gonna have this is gonna be interesting. We're gonna get some comments on this one, but there are certain things that I think men are better at than women, and there are certain things that I think women are better at than men.
100%. That's logical.
I think it's just how it is. It's not. It's not like certain gender is better than the other gender. It's just
no. There's two genders, for a reason, and they were both put on this earth to be good. Both be good at certain things.
Like for instance, if you're trying to do heavy lifting, in general. Now, granted, there are probably some women that can lift more weight than I can, but in general, men can lift more than women. It's just how it is. It's nothing against anybody. That's just biology.
Science.
Okay? It's just biology. Men are typically bigger and stronger than women, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But on the other side is like women are natural nurturers of children.
Yeah.
Just have an innate ability to be loving, caring, and nurturing of young. Not like men can't be. I'm just saying, like, you ever have it's like mother's intuition?
Yeah.
Like it's
male intuition, female intuition.
Like it's just a thing.
A male has intuition to protect. If he sees something right away, his intuition is like, if he sees something wrong with his kid or his wife,
protect and provide.
Yeah, I got to protect that. That's a male intuition, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of people. That's such toxic. That's so toxic.
No, I mean it's really not though. Like, what is so toxic about wanting to protect, right? Or provide,
I don't understand. Actually, somebody had asked that to me at one point. I heard it somewhere where they said that, I want to provide, like, I want to, work my ass off and be able to provide all of these nice things, beautiful house, cars for my wife, college for my kids, all this stuff. And they said, like, why do you have to do that? I said, but why wouldn't you? Why is it toxic of me to want to provide the very best for my family?
I don't even know what toxic masculinity
Well, they talk
is.
about, like, the norms of saying that men, have to be strong, have to be protective, have to be provide for their family, have to suppress their emotions, have to do this, have to do that. And it's like, no, but if my family's falling to pieces, like, I don't want to say falling to pieces, that's a wrong term, but if my family is very, very upset about something, then why don't you want to be the strong one for the family, to hold the family together?
Yeah, men are.
Why don't you want to be the provider for their family and provide them with the very best house and the very best food and the very best clothing, the very best this, the very best that? Why don't you want to do that?
Well, yeah, I think men are naturally like solution seekers, or problem solvers. Like if they see a problem, they initially want to fix it right away. Like, how can I do this? How can I make this better? How can I ease the pain? Blah 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 blah. But yeah. So to go back, I think that's just like a natural male thing for the most part. Is that they want to do that.
Yeah. And I think it's another thing too is with the whole like protective thing, right? Like if shit hits the fan, who's going out first? Right?
Men.
On the Titanic, when the Titanic sank, who got to go first? Women and children. And who stayed back? Men. Right? When shit hits the fan and there's a burglar comes in your house, who's going up to the front line?
Good old testosterone men.
I want to say for the most part, right? Because obviously there's certain scenarios, like I get it, right? Like that if for instance, if you're both, ex-Marine, armed, military trained, you're both going to whip some fucking ass, okay? But if there's one who's the bigger, stronger person that can fight versus somebody that can't, who's going? The person that can fucking fight.
Yeah. I mean, and granted, everything that we're talking about, there's like certain... It's not everything is like this, but I feel like majority of the stuff that we're saying is a general optic. Obviously there's more stronger, there's stronger women, there's bigger women, there's more, I guess, masculine women. I don't know. But for the most part, I think this is most of society. I mean, that's how I was raised. My dad was the sole provider. My mom stayed back and took care of the house and the kids and doing all this stuff, and my dad was the sole breadwinner and took care of everything. And my dad always said, like, listen, you endure all the stress, you take on all the stress. The less stressful your wife is, the better your life is.
Oh, 100%. I'll take all the hits as long as you're you're safe and the kids are safe. I'll take all the punches, I'll take all the hits, and I'll take all the brunt of it to keep them safe.
Yeah, I think a responsibility as a man is you want to be like a what's the word? Like a phrase or word, like, willing to sacrifice yourself for the ones that you care about. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe we're old school.
We are 100% old school. I've said my piece about what I think it is to be a man. I think that you should protect. I think you should provide. I think you should be the strong one, the backbone for your family.
How do we get from cigars to this?
I don't know. But that's my piece, and I don't know what else to say that. And if people say, "Oh, you're toxic masculinity because you want to be strong and you want to be providative and you don't want your wife to work, you want your wife to stay home and raise the kids," like, no, I don't. I've always said this: it's not the fact that I don't want my wife to work. I don't want her to have to work.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference. Right? Like, I don't want you to have to. Like, when two people, you have to work to pay the bills, that creates a lot of stress in your family because now you have to offset. One person's going to work while the other one's raising the kids, and then that person switches and they come raise the kids. You never have time for each other. And then if you're both working, then you have to find a nanny that is basically going to instill the nanny's values onto your kids because the nanny's raising your kids for the freaking first 15 years of their life. Like,
and that's what that's what kind of predicament I'm in. It's where me and my wife, we both work full time. And we're like, if you ever see the cost of well, first of all, we don't want to put our kids through daycare, but you ever see the cost of daycare, bro?
Yeah, no. That's why I'm like, no, you stay home. I got it. Fuck the daycare. Because then you think about that, right?
And to go back real quick, we're both working, but she's like waiting for the day to be like, I don't, you don't have to work anymore. She wants to be like the old traditional way where she takes care of the house, takes care of the children, cooks, cleans. She's like, I'm ready when you are. I'm ready to do that. And I'm like, well, we got a lot of bills to pay. Got to make a little more money for that to happen. But the overall goal is, and I want it to be like that.
I know.
It's like I want to emulate how I grew up. And she wants the same. So it's like sometimes we're like, fuck, how do you have kids when you're both working full time? Like it's going to be difficult. People do it. Many people our age do it. There's plenty of people our age are both working and their kids are in daycare. But I'm never a person. I don't want someone else taking care of my kid.
Well, that's the biggest thing that I wanted to stress was that it's not that I don't want her to. It's that I don't want her to have to. Like if she'd like to, then by all means, but not that you don't have to. So like when shit hits the fan and because back step. You're saying that I don't want somebody else raising my kids, right? Like I want us to raise our kids,
or family, or family.
I want us. I don't want strangers.
Honest,
I don't even want my family raising my kids. I don't want
not raising, but helping.
I don't even want because I
hear you.
Because here's the thing: is you don't get the time back.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So how many times you say like, oh, I can't believe it. Like my kids going to college. I remember when they were 3 years old. I wish I could be back when they were 3 years. Yeah. You can't get that time back.
For sure.
So once you give it away to have somebody else raise your kid for the first 7 years, you don't get those 7 years back. So why wouldn't you want to have at least one parent staying home the whole time to be with the kids?
Yeah.
And then if you want to switch, say, hey, listen, I don't want to. I'm going to go do something today. Can you stay home? Fine. No problem. I'll stay home. I'll work from home. I'll take care of it. But you're always having and raising your kids together, instilling your values on the kids. Because if you're both working and you're sending them to daycare, look at what they're fucking teaching kids now. Okay? With these God knows what on these fucking children's books. You think you want that instilled on your... No, I want what we believe instilled on our kids. Not what somebody else believes.
Facts.
So if there's a way that I could say, hey, I'm going to work and you stay home so that we have... and then every single night we get to spend dinner together. Especially if you have a job where you can work from home occasionally, and nowadays a lot of jobs are working from home because of COVID. So that's kind of like a blessing in disguise. But being able to see your kids every single day, being able to put them on the bus, pick them up from the bus every single day, have dinner with them every single day. You don't get that time back. So when it's 15 years old and you're like, oh fuck, they were in daycare for 1 to 7 years old. I missed the first step. I missed this. I missed that. You don't get that time back.
100%.
So I would rather have
it's
us raise the kid as opposed to somebody else raise the kid.
And that it's happening more now than it used to. Just the way of living and the cost of things. It's having especially in New York, having a single income is hard to come by. Not everyone can do it. And
I think another thing too is a lot of people think that, oh, you're so dominant in that aspect. Like you want to be control over everything. You want to be, and it's like, no. That's just one side of it. Going out and being the breadwinner is just one side of it.
Where? 100%.
Right? In order to raise a family and make the household work, bringing in the money is just one thing. But then whoever raises the kids and takes care of the house, makes sure the house is clean, takes care of all the bills, keeps the family together, right? Without that, making all the money doesn't fucking do shit. But without making the money, none of that does shit. So it's it's a team. It's a team together. And it's like, all right, this is what we have to do. We have to, make money. We have to keep the house in order. We have to raise kids. We have to put food on the table. These are all things we do. How do we split those up? So it's a team because one without the other doesn't work.
Facts. Now you're talking. Now I got you rolling.
and that's so many people think, oh, you just want to be in control of it. No. It's a team effort, and the two parents have to raise the child, or the two parents raise the family, and however you split up the roles, that's how you split them up, right? And in some cases, one's going to make all the money, and the other one takes care of the kids, vice versa. But I think that having at least one if you can, one make all the money and one stay home, that's the ideal situation. If you can both stay home and not have to work, then obviously that's the ideal situation, right?
Yeah.
But if one can make it and one can stay home, then it's great because at least you have one parent that is instilling all of your values into your children as opposed to somebody else.
100%. And, that's...
Yeah.
It's preach on it, son.
Toxic masculinity.
We still don't even know what it means.
All right, so now we're going to get into let's get into the funny part of it because I looked it up because I have no idea what the fuck it means.
Did you? What does it say?
I have no fucking clue. All right, so...
yeah.
This was all right.
Justin went from, I don't know.
I don't
say that. I got a lot of shit to say now, could.
Toxic masculinity is a set of certain male behaviors associated with harm to society and men themselves.
All right, so let's backtrack on that. All right.
And then they say sexual assault and domestic violence. Yeah, of course, that's toxic. Yeah. But that's not toxic masculinity. That's just toxic
majority of men
in general.
Are not looking to do that.
Okay, that's
obviously.
toxic in general.
What was the first sentence?
Certain male behaviors are associated with harm to society and men themselves.
Okay, 1. Harm to society. How are men being men harm to society? One way I can think of like, if you're like a dictator, like you're fucking Nazi Germany. That would probably be toxic masculinity. Driving a whole plethora country of people to dislike, kill other people.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not masculine. That's being a dictator. That's being an asshole.
Yeah, it's being a bitch, cunt, motherfucker.
Like you can be masculine without being an asshole.
Yeah, you can be a masculine leader. But I guess I'm just trying to.
Here's another one.
I'm just trying to pick apart what that sentence means.
This one's the easier way. This one's easier to pick apart. This one says toxic masculinity is an attitude or set of social guidelines stereotypically associated with manliness that often have a negative impact on men, women, and society in general. So some of the stuff
is there feminine? Is there feminine?
I think what they're referring to as opposed to toxic masculinity and
like toxic femininity is there such a thing?
You can flip it. Basically, what they're saying is there's certain things that were driven in or society believes that men should be, and they say, well, why do they have to be that? That's toxic. Why are you saying that they have to be like that? And I said, but if that's what you believe, then it's not toxic to you. And as long as you're not harming anybody else. Like, what's wrong with providing and being the breadwinner? Or that was one of the examples.
Or what's wrong with being fucking jacked and wanting to look good? And
and that's what they're saying is that
walking around with an ad.
One of the things that I could kind of understand is when they're saying that men need to suppress their emotions.
Yeah. Okay,
I can see that. Like when you're forcing it down somebody's throat in certain situations, I would say. Like, for instance, if your family, if something tragic happens to your family, you notice that, like, your wife and your kids and everybody's devastated, right? And if you want to suppress them to try to be the strong one for the family and hold them together, because if they see that you're breaking down, then maybe they'll break down even further. But if they see that you're strong, maybe they'll have the strength to, like, pull them up and bring them together. I can see that. But then if you're saying, like, oh, you're watching a movie and the movie's really sad and you're a man, you want to cry, they're like, no, don't you fucking cry right now.
Be a man.
Like, that I can see, all right, maybe that's wrong of society to say, no, you shouldn't cry. I cry all the fucking time when I watch movies.
Like, it was obviously for a while, it was like, men don't cry. And I mean, I believed that until I met my wife. I was like, I would never cry. I would always hold it back, and now I'm like, I fucking start getting teary up at fucking commercials.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? But what was I going to go back to? What were we? I just had something I wanted to say.
Oh, no, you're talking about certain things with, like, women, too. Is there toxic feminism?
No, there
masculinity,
was
femininity?
Yeah.
That's a fun word to say.
Toxic femininity.
Femininity.
But
it's like Francisco. That's fun to say.
Francisco. But also, I feel like, I don't know. It's also how past societies have, I guess over the years, like back in the day, it was like the men go to war, the men are masculine and fighting for a war, and they come home, they take care of their family, they don't talk how they feel, and I don't know.
Now I got you fumbling over.
Yeah, I don't know. When all this stuff that we're talking about, I just think of one scene from The Sopranos, and it's when Tony Soprano is first going to therapy, and he's talking about his feelings, and he's talking about, things that make him feel soft, and he gets all pissed off, and he's just like, what happened to what was his name? The the Gary Coopers. He's like, what happened to the Gary Coopers of the world, where he kept everything inside and just let no one ever knew.
You know what kind of reminds me of too is
that's how I used to be. I used to be like a fucking rock solid, stone cold, like didn't show emotion, didn't want to show emotion, and I didn't want to cry. I didn't want people see me get upset. I always was.
I used to be like that too.
You know what? Because but that's just how my dad is. Like, he doesn't try to be like that. Like, I've seen my dad cry. He's getting softer now with age.
Yeah.
But growing up, I remember seeing my dad cry for the first.
Suck it up.
Yeah. And he never said suck it up, but he was like, my parents were never like, don't cry, like you're fucking soft, you're a pussy. But I never saw my dad cry until like when I lived in Connecticut once, and we had one too many, and I was with my brothers. We were in New Haven, Connecticut. We're at a bar, and we're drinking these fucking crazy tequila drinks. And he starts talking about something in a family. He just starts getting worked up at the bar. And my brothers and I must have been maybe like, I don't know, 23, 24. And my brothers and I were like, yo, what is going on right now? He started
like bawling out?
He started crying and shit. And I was
bawling
like,
out in a different way.
Yeah. And I remember like, oh shit, he's human. He does have a soft spot. But like, my dad was like you said, he was always the strong, like, and if something was going wrong, he was always just like the foundation. Like nothing ever shook him. He just like always took care of it. And like I never felt like my dad would break. And he mentioned like, when you were born, I cried, blah blah blah. But I'm like, I didn't see that shit.
Yeah, of course.
But now, like, my dad's in his 60s, like, he's a fucking mush now. Like,
it's funny you say, because I remember when your dad at my wedding. I think you were there.
I was at your wedding. Yeah,
no, I mean you were.
Yeah, my wedding. I think you were there.
You were there when I said it to. I remember like shaking his hand and telling him like, listen, like Eric, I don't say this enough, but I love you, man. I was like,
he was like heartfelt,
right? Because I went up to him. I said, we were by the fireplace, and I said, because Eric's dad was a big influence on my life. I mean, he hired me, and I worked next to him every single day for the last, besides COVID, but for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Going all those things. I was traveling with him on planes. Like I would stay overnight. So like he was a big influence. And I remember going up to him at the wedding and saying like, listen, I don't say this enough. I was like, but I really do love you. Like I love you. You're like my third dad.
And he was like he's like, man.
He's like, oh my, he goes, dude, you're going to make me cry.
Yeah, I was there. Yes, I was there. I was there.
Right?
Yes. I was at your wedding and I was at that moment too.
But it was true. I was like, listen, I know I don't say it enough, and I saw him getting choked up, but I saw my dad cry one time, and I was playing basketball. We were at a place called Island Garden, which was out in West Hempstead in Long Island, and the first half of the game was our championship game, and the first half of the game was just not going our way, not going my way, not going our way. Like I wasn't playing what we were, and so my dad came up to me at halftime, and I could see like tears in his eyes, and he came because he knew like how much it meant to me and how like disappointed I was in myself. And he came up to me and he had tears and he looked at me and he goes, do you want to win this game? Because I want you to win this game. And I know you can do better. And he was like tearing up. And, because of how like disappointed he saw that I was in myself, he goes, you're going to come out this second half. He goes, and we're going to win this game. And he was like all choked up. Actually, I saw him cry. The second time was on my wedding day. Okay. It was the second time I saw my dad cry. But you're right. Like you don't really see them.
Like our parents, I feel like and even like my friends' fathers, they were always very stoic and like very like, stone cold. Like didn't always show emotion. Like it was always like rock solid. Like I wonder if he cries. And I always tried to be like that until I met my wife, who was the complete opposite of me. She's all about emotions and wearing your heart on your sleeve, and then over the years, just slowly chipping at the block.
It's kind of like I almost want to say that not letting in certain scenarios, right? Like obviously.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Hold on, to go back. We were talking about like if something's going wrong, like you want the male to be there to like kind of hold everybody together because he can't really freak out. And I remember talking to my wife's cousins, who are their brothers, and they both have 2 kids. And I was like, yo, do you guys find it like you guys are more like the like more grounded, more logical, down to earth, and like, you know, the wives are usually like more frantic and worried. And he's like, yeah, bro. He's like, you have to be like that, because if your wife's freaking out and your kids are freaking out and they see you freaking out, then everything's a fucking mess. You have to like put on the face and put on the show.
One of them's got to not freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. I was like, all right.
And it can go in both ways too. Like I know sometimes like if work's like stressed out, whatever, and I'm getting like super, super frustrated.
Yeah.
My wife like, you know, calms me down and she stays like level headed, and but you both can't freak out.
There's no
one of you's got to, and I think, okay, so this is actually, now we're getting to a different topic, but I think this is where, going back to the team thing, is one of you has got to stay strong. And you got to recognize when the other one's like about to fall apart, the other one's got to pick it up.
There's no better feeling than like being as a man, like you're starting to freak out and you're kind of like going down it. You're like spiraling down.
You can feel it.
And then your wife or your girlfriend or your partner, whoever, is just like, yo, it's going to be all right. Like, it's okay. Take a deep breath. We're going to be all right. And it's like, oh, shit.
Yes. So one of you has got to be the... Because
I was always used to just taking things on my own and just letting my spiral out until I was grounded after like a couple hours or whatever, however long it took. But then when you have your partner, your wife, girlfriend, whoever, to be like, yo, it's okay. Or even a friend, and they're like, yo, it's okay. Somebody's
got to pick you up.
You're like, wow. Fuck. Yeah.
Got to build each other up. And I think that one of the things I was going to talk about was it's not necessarily a bad thing to learn how to suppress emotions. And what I mean by that is there's a movie called She's All That. Okay? You're going to live. But there's a movie called She's All That. And the woman is, I forgot her name in the movie, but it's Freddie Prinze Jr. and this other girl.
Yeah, what's her name?
But in the movie, right, she... gets like made fun of, she gets bullied, blah, blah, blah. And she winds up like breaking down and then running away. And Freddie Prinze Jr. comes to her rescue. And she says something. She's like, I swore to myself that I would never let them see me cry. I would never let them see me cry.
Yeah.
And that kind of backs up my point where, and I know it's just a movie, but it backs up my point where it's not a bad thing necessarily to learn how to suppress your emotions, because if you're in a competition or if you're in the real world and you have your quote unquote enemy that is trying to like get under your skin, to learn how to not let them see that you're upset. Like, especially, and I remember in playing basketball, in sports, you never let the other team see that you're flustered or see that you're tired or see that you're frustrated or they got under your skin. You never let them see it, because when they see that, they know they got you and they dig even fucking deeper.
Two things. To go off of that, Lance Stevenson, Indiana Pacers, was always good at that. If you're obviously a big basketball fan, he knew how to like get under people's skin to like bother them, to get them off their game. Or Reggie Miller, right? Reggie Miller was pretty good at that too.
Yeah.
Like, and he was an Indiana Pacer too, coincidentally. Really weird. So you never want to show like your competitors.
Your weakness.
Yeah. And it goes back to Get Rich or Die Trying, 50 Cent. Rule number 5, show no love, love will get you killed.
Show no love, love will get you killed.
And it goes, but yeah, it goes. I mean, that's a little more
Would
dramatic.
you rather be loved or feared?
You know, he was high in that scene.
Was he Chad Palminteri?
No, not Chad. Come on, Chad. You think Chad smokes the reefer? No, Cologeno
was high in that.
He was smoking a doobie. He was smoking a fucking J-bone right before that. And you can kind of see it in the scene. He's like glassy eyed.
Really?
Yeah, he talks about it.
He's a fucking wreck, isn't he now?
Well, he was a prominent actor, like a young actor making all these roles, and then he got caught up with the wrong people.
He got hooked on the devil's lettuce.
He got doing drugs.
He was doing devil's lettuce, and then the lettuce left, and it's just
But you know what happened to him, right? He got hooked on drugs. And
hooked on phonics?
He didn't get hooked on phonics. I wish he did.
You remember that show, Ebons World?
Yeah, I remember, of course, Ebons World. But he got hooked on, I forgot what that actor's name. Whatever, Cologeno from the Bronx. I can't think of his name right now. But yeah, he got hooked on drugs. And Chaz was always like, and even Robert De Niro, like, yo, you gotta fucking stop. Like, you're gonna fucking ruin your life. And he broke in. He was with his friend, like, looking for drugs, looking for pills, and they got a tip, like, their drug dealer or their friend had stuff in their place, and they broke into it in the middle of the night when no one was home. And the neighbor was a cop, and he heard him, and he was like, freeze. And the guy he was with shot the cop and killed him.
Oh, my God.
And then he went, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I mean, now he's out now. Doing better, I think. But
do you remember that from Ebons World, what I was talking about with the phonics? The Ebonics, whatever it was called? when they used to tell you like how to speak ghetto.
Well, Ebonics is like the Wikipedia or the dictionary for ghetto terminology.
I know. So they had a whole video on like Ebons World where they would say like they would say a thing in like plain English, and then they would say the ghetto version of it. And one of them was like, "I admire fashionable running shoes." And he goes, "Drop them Nikes off your ass for a blast, you motherfucker."
Well, rest in peace, Big L. But Big L has a song called Ebonics, and he raps the whole song about just that. He says,
Dude,
like,
I remember that video. So fucking funny.
Yeah. He says, like, if you got the dragon, you got bad breath. If you got jacked, that means you got robbed, and he says shit like that.
Dude, I remember the Ebons was so fucking hilarious.
Bro, speaking of Ebons, my buddy sent me a text message today, a video today from World Star Hip Hop. You remember World Star Hip Hop?
Bro.
I was like, bro, you are a 31-year-old man. You're still watching World Star Hip Hop?
I am 31 years old.
I was like, damn. I'm like, just go on YouTube or Instagram. You'll see it on one of those platforms.
How old are you, kid? 11? 12? I am 31 years old.
God. What is that, Waterboy? So, yeah.
Anyway.
See, I knew I was going to turn into a good conversation.
It started off slow.
It may feel uncomfortable, do it.
We started off slow, but we knew we were going to get it. Well, we started off slow, but we're going to get it. We turn around. We started off slow. You ever see that video?
No.
You never seen the kid, the high school football player?
Oh, that's what I thought you were thinking about.
We started off slow, but I said, we're going to turn it. We're going to get it. We started off slow, but that's okay. You're going to start off slow sometimes, but then you're going to turn around. You're going to go on fast, but we started off slow. Just kept going and going. I was like, I need that guy as like a motivational speaker. Yeah. I would hire him just to speak to my team.
Easily.
Anyway, that's going to do it. We're going to go film some shorts.
Yeah. So if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So I don't know. I don't even know. You know what? YouTube now, please subscribe to the Burn Down Podcast YouTube channel, but subscribing isn't always guaranteeing that it's going to push our videos to the people who subscribe to.
You know what? Share this fucking video.
Share the video. Share this podcast.
Drop a comment. I think like and comment is better than obviously subscribe. You want to get more subscribers, but like and comment does more.
Yeah. So please like this video if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button so you can see our videos or look for our videos and they pop up. And hit that bell, more importantly, to get notified when we do drop a podcast, do drop a new video or a short. And if you're listening to the podcast, whatever you're on, give us a nice rating, 5 stars, leave us a review. Check out our website, burndownpodcast.com. Become a member, $5 a month. We're almost at 80 members right now as of January. So thank you for all the subscribers and members. And until next time, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, chin chin, salute.